So we are Monroe. Welcome to Montreal Rocks again.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thanks
Is
for having me.
everybody in Montreal just at home?
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Quarantining.
Being still after a year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when was the last time you guys actually played a show?
The last gigs that we had booked was Osheaga and the after party. So that was the last time we had an official show. And then in the fall, so that was in 2019. And then in the fall later that year, we got invited to do like this performance at the hockey game. So, I mean, it's not like a gig in the in the usual sense of the thing. So that would have been the last time that we are all on stage together.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you had no idea what was about to happen next. Did you have plans set for 2020 at that point?
After when we did the show, like November 22nd, after that, it was part of the plan to take like a couple months and to take some times to go back in our studio and just to write new materials, but because we had so many things on our plate and we 2019 was a really busy year for us, and we never took the chance, like the opportunity to really finish our stuff. So it was part of the plan, like, okay, we're going to take like a couple of months, even a year, just to go back in studio and work with different people and to have new materials to put on a record. But we at that point we had absolutely no idea that what was about to come.
So. I don't think anybody did, really.
Man,
are you the kind of band that writes on the road? Like, I know you were over in Europe for a little while. Do you actually work on song ideas, or do you like to wait until the whole cycle is done and then kind of knuckle down from the beginning?
I feel like most songs are written during like practice and rehearsal. I haven't been in the band for that long of a time, maybe since 2018, but I don't remember any moments of writing on the road, really.
I think our usual pattern, like Ben was saying, actually, like, up until this pandemic, like we never really slowed down to take a break. It was always like we'd come off of like playing some shows, we'd have like a few weeks to ourselves, but we'd have to get ready for the next run of shows, and so we'd sneak in some time to jam or whatever, but then we'd be back out, and then we'd come back and like, okay, we got a weekend in the studio, then we'd be back, so it's been like that for as long as I can remember. But the writing part of it was always here. Like I don't think we're the kind of band that, like, when we're on the road that we can I don't know what it is, like we don't have the wherewithal to write on the road. Like I think it happens in our space, and that it's where the bulk of the ideas come from.
Having said that, the tour cycle for the last album finished, I guess, kind of end of 2019. Did you actually get back to songwriting at that point, or what happened then?
Yeah, I think we got right into the writing. I mean, we still write while we're doing shows, right? I think, like Brian said, when we're rehearsing, when we're practicing for sets or writing sets, we'll get distracted and we'll start jamming something randomly, and usually, we come up with some ideas through those jams. But when we finished the tour, we went right into writing. But I feel like writing is a process, and it takes a little while to get back into that rhythm of writing. I would definitely say that we started writing right away. I mean, that was the intention, like Ben said. We wanted to take off time to do and focus writing, and then the pandemic hit, and unfortunately that extended everything quite a bit. Which I guess was good at the same time, but we did have shows planned for 2020. We had we were actually gonna do a release in 2020, but then with the uncertainties of the time, we just decided to maybe hold off until later on.
Yeah, because some artists with the pandemic, like knowing that everybody was at home with nothing to do, they thought about postponing releases, but then they actually decided to go ahead with releases because they thought everyone's at home, they need something to do, and the music can be a distraction and also kind of comforting in hard times, you know. But you guys obviously decided to wait. Did that just allow you to spend more time on the songwriting process?
The funny thing is, because we had before the pandemic lockdown, we had a bunch of ideas that we wanted to work on, and when the lockdown happened, we all found each other stuck at home, and just like I'm living in a condo in Montreal. I don't have any room for a drum set, or like I have my electric guitar with an amp, but my setup is pretty limited. So we started to use like Garageband just to put some ideas. And what happened is really like funny, because a lot of good ideas completely different than what we used to write together as a band while we're jamming in our room, our space. Different ideas came out, and it kind of we all look at each other and said, okay, just wait, man, because there's a lot of cool stuff that happening right now. And I'm really surprised to we wanted to get back together in our pad just to jam those ideas. And we just like a couple of weeks ago, we started to go back into the pad and start to jam these ideas, and they're really, really cool. So I think what's happening now with all this pandemic stuff, we have stuff that we wrote before the COVID-19, and we have new materials that are completely different and really cool and different. So it's really funny because that pandemic, the COVID-19, forced us to discover new material, new way to write music, and that's pretty good stuff came out of that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, because obviously it's been a crazy time and a hard time for most people, but we have to find some positives within that, right? And
yeah,
I think it's allowed people to have more time for the creative process, to have more time to think about what they want for their band moving forward, and how their band's going to look on the other side of this. So hopefully there are positives that can come out of it, and maybe.
Yeah, and I think also like time, when you a band without any project, like next show, next album, next EP, it can be really like scary to have nothing on your plate. Like I've been playing music since I'm like 15 years old, and I never had that period that I didn't touch an instrument for so long. It's the first time I really like just came out of the music and just like, okay, what the fuck do I want to do now? Like, and I took some time. It took me some time, like, just to realize that, okay, because maybe I'm the one, like I'm the drummer, and I don't have access to my drum set. So I had to find something else, and I found like keyboards, electronic devices, GarageBand, electronic music, and I started to really play with those things, and just it changed my vision of music. And I think it's the same for all the band members. It just, and I'm really I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next, like how people's gonna react, like, because for sure, like, the world is changing right now. I don't think that people were going to shows, and like, I don't know, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen when we're gonna go back in a bar playing live shows.
To add on to what Ben said, it's really interesting because it's true there was like never a break. It was always like, okay, next show, mostly
next
shows,
tour, next album,
yeah, whatever. So when all this hit, there was the intention to write music, and like Ben said, we got around to like maybe gearing up at home for home recording and stuff. But also the fact that there was so much going on, and gave us a chance to maybe get away from the music, concentrate on doing other stuff, learning new things, or activities, or hobbies. I mean, Ben had a kid.
That's a new hobby.
Ben had a child. He could, like, we had the time to really put our concentration on stuff maybe we didn't have time to do, be it reading a book every now and then or whatever. And I think those outside things brought more to our music writing, because you don't really hit a rut. It was like when you felt some inspiration, you could go and write, but when you're not feeling inspired, you could do other stuff in the confines of what the pandemic allowed.
Yeah.
But it was cool to like use the outside stuff that isn't music to kind of like inspire the music, like the writing of the music. So that was cool.
Cool. So I know you have this new record coming out this week. How does that feel to begin with, just having some new music coming out into the world now?
Having a new single come out, it's been such a long time since we've had music come out. It just kind of allows us to do a couple things. I think it allows us to reconnect with people. We've been fortunate that, over the last year and a bit, people have been reaching out to us and saying, hey, we're excited to see what you guys do next. Like, when are you guys doing something? So it's like a way for us to reconnect with some of those people that, have been on our side for some time. It also allows us to show people where we're at, where we're going. Especially, I feel like, a little bit more to Ben's point, we've traditionally been known as like this rock and roll outfit, like drum, bass, guitars, and now it's, after a lot of time away, it kind of started before the pandemic, introducing synths and stuff like that into the music. But I think it's really coming to the forefront as like really a bigger part of our identity. So it's kind of like releasing this single is kind of like a way to show people that new side, of what we're doing, and also kind of hinting to other stuff that's coming up, like whether that's going to be, future releases, obviously the uncertainty of touring and things like that, but certainly hope that we get a chance to get back to performing sooner than later. So it's kind of like a bookmark, like, hey, this is where we're at right now, and just kind of like reconnecting with people.
Do you think this new song is representative of the other new music you've been working on? Does it give a flavor of what's to come?
I certainly think so. I mean, whoever's going to say it, but I mean, I think so for sure.
I think it's transitional, maybe. The band has changed a lot since the inception of it. Literally, not only musically, but members and everything. So we've kind of been adapting, and I don't think we ever got to a stage where we stopped evolving the sound. I mean, certain bands, they have a sound and then they plateau and they kind of, they get tied to something. I think in our case, we've kind of always been slightly changing things as we go along. And now with the new members, I mean, obviously since Brian joined the band, it kind of changed the dynamics of the kind of music we do. And I think this new single is a good in between of, what we've done in the past, what we were doing when we wrote it, and where we're headed to now, which is not too far away from it, but still different, I would say, than what we're going to release in the coming weeks.
Yeah, because I think you've gone on record as saying you're not trying to reinvent the wheel with the sound that you make. It's pretty straight down the line, just good solid rock and roll with a lot of energy. I don't think you ever wanted to be Radiohead or anything like that.
Yeah.
It feels like something definitely new for you and a progression, but like you say, it's definitely still got the energy from what I've heard. That is a big part of your sound. I mean, I've seen you live and the energy is a big part of.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth mentioning, but I think throughout all of these changes that we're talking about, all of these new instruments coming into the fold, like at the end of the day, I was thinking about this. It was like our favorite thing to do is to be on stage. Like we never really saw ourselves like
we're a live
studio
band for sure.
Yeah, we never saw ourselves as a studio band. I think we're taking a little bit more of a liking to it now, just because that's kind of like the only thing that we have. But I think when we're writing and thinking about these new songs, is like, I think part of us subconsciously, we're trying to find ways to infuse the energy that we want to have in the live show, because for us that's always where it's, you know, it's going to live. We're always really, really, you know, appreciative when people are listening to our music at home and stuff, but you know, at the end of the day, like, we want to be able to show them what the intention was behind the song, and that was to perform it for them live, you know. And so throughout all of that, I think that's sort of been like the thing that's been waiting in the wings, is like this new music, you know. And like Ben said, you know, like, we've been back in rehearsals for the last couple of weeks, and it's just kind of like playing some of the new material in this way is, it's fun. It's cool, you know, like, and the moment that we get to play it live it's going to sort of like all
usually
crystallize, you know.
I think what's really different, what changed, you know, we all change with time. We're getting older. And every year that extra year that we play music, we know a little bit more what we want to do. And I think the process of creating music for We Are Monroe changed a lot, like dramatically changed in the past few years. And it's more true with the COVID-19, because before we were writing music for playing live. The way we used to do it, it was we were jamming ideas in our pad just to incorporate them for a live show. But now it's totally different, because we don't have any gigs planned except the one for the lounge. So it's different. We're writing music, and we're gonna play, like, we're writing music with electronic devices. We record on Garageband, and then after that we meet each other and we start to play the songs. It's totally new for us, because it never worked that way. We always worked the completely opposite. We were jamming songs and then we were recording them. So I think the main challenge with We Are Monroe in the previous recording is all the songs that you hear on the record have been written to be played live, like, mainly. So it was really hard to catch that energy on the recording. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm really curious to work with another producer with the new material, because this material has been created like at home, and it's really hard to explain, man. We change our way to write music. For me, I mean, because I'm writing music without playing drums. This is the first time in my life that's happening.
To touch on what Ben is saying, our biggest challenge right now is adapting these songs that we've written, you know, online separately in our own corners, and adapting it to live, because, you know, like Ben said, we've always written everything live together, kind of. So now it's like we're going the opposite way. Now we have it written, and we kind of need to figure out how to pull it off live, and we're using new tools, we need to adapt the tools to the live. So definitely new challenges. It makes it exciting at the same time. And, you know, I think the release is definitely a motivating factor for us. Glad to see things moving again.
We're spending all this time talking about new music, and the new music has obviously a different identity, if you could say. But at the end of the day, We Are Monroe is high energy, that you could dance to, move to, sing along to. So there's a different direction that's taken, but that core of being able to make people move and feel the energy is always there and will always be there. Because, like we've been saying, is at the end of the day, we want these songs to sound good live, and that people want to move to them.
So I want to ask a little bit about the visual side of what you're doing at the moment, because I've seen some of the graphics and the artwork that's been sort of dripping out, and it looks really cool. So can you tell me a little bit about what you've been thinking with that side of things?
Actually, last year, like Pat was saying, we were toying with this idea of like releasing music, and so we thought it'd be really interesting to, you know, work with other artists, but like visual artists, and so, you know, we contacted a few different people, and then at one point on Instagram we landed on this local artist. His artist name is Teets, and he's just like this real punk rock it makes me think of the Lower East Side in the 70s or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it's collage. It's like, anyways, so we contacted the dude and we say, hey, listen, we have this idea of like, you know, we need album artwork, we need visuals. And I think the idea of kind of giving an artist like that just a few sort of like themes and kind of letting him do his thing, it's just been really sort of liberating, because you get to see an artist work, you know, and like we love our art form and we love working in it. And so to not have to worry about too much about the details of the visuals, because you know you got an artist that's going to do something that's really stellar. It's been a fun process, you know. Honestly, it's we've always done our artwork in, you know, working with different people, but I think this might be the first time that like we really let go a lot more of the creative control and let an artist really do his thing. I don't know about the other guys, but like for me, it's been really nice to see it come to life. And, you know, from the physical artwork to the moving artwork to the digital stuff, it's just really, really different for us. You know, it's really cool.
It's funny you say that, because we really had the idea of, we want to release something. Here's the music. What inspires you about it?
Exactly.
Go do your thing. We like your art form. Don't try to like do something different from what you do. We contacted you because of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And whatever was presented, we wanted it to be like, well, we're not gonna like waste our time like you giving us art and then us trying to like change it a billion times and like put our name in huge on it or whatever. We wanted it to be a collaboration.
We asked him to touch up a couple of things, but overall, you know,
it was kind of like
he was on the right track, like, you know, right out of the gate, you know.
Exactly. So it's like, let's collaborate. We write the music.
Yeah.
You do the visuals. We trust you. We'll give pointers, but we really want you to drive the visual bus. And it's cool because he came up with ideas. And after that, for whatever he worked on, it was set. And then we were able to align our own, like, obviously not the bigger artwork, but like be it posts or like press photos or whatever, we were able to work on that on our end and tie it into what was given to us by Teats.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun also to collaborate in that way, where you don't have to create everything. You kind of have a line, and it's like, okay, I'll try to create something from that.
I mean, we're so close to the music that I think it was fun to have another artist's perspective of what we're doing that, you know, works on a completely different art form than ours, and we kind of adapted a bit to hit what he provided us with. I think the idea was also that, you know, right now music is, at the same time, it's the most accessible it's ever been, but it's also very difficult profession to be in.
Yeah.
And I think all art is kind of in the same boat, and the best way to maybe get your music out there or get your art out there is to also promote other people's art that you like and enjoy, and kind of have that community of artists from all genres just come together. And I think that was kind of the spirit of wanting to bring in someone that was just gonna take the lead with the art and bring their interpretation of what we were doing, and then collaborating together on that.
So the song comes out this week. What's next after that for you guys?
What's next? Well, today, if people are watching it in real time, on Friday. So apart from the single that we've announced a live stream show that's going to be Saturday, May 29th. It's here in Montreal. It's going to be filmed at L'Astral. So we're partnered up with our friends and, you know, second family over at Evenco and District 7, which is huge for us, because it's like, it might be, you know, one of those things that might be the only performance for the next few months, if not year. So it's like a big deal for us to be back out on stage. and you know, the EPs, the live stream is the sort of the release of the EP. And so yeah, so that's the next big sort of thing for us.
Out of all the places that you played in Montreal, which one do you miss the most, and where would you like to play first when you get back out there?
Can I say it?
Go.
Let's go.
I was about to say the same thing. Let's go, man. I miss that place so much.
It's funny because Ben and I were having a conversation earlier today, and we were talking about the part of the conversation was just sort of like reflecting on a time in the band, you know, that was before anyone cared about who we were, or, you know, we weren't too bothered by selling tickets or whatever. We were just kind of getting started, you know, and there was a real thing about playing the circuit of, you know, even places like, you know, Barfly and Quai des Brumes and some of those places. But Lesko is where we had some of our first, you know, real bigger crowds, like where the rooms were like fuller than anywhere else. And it's where we met Pat, our singer. But it's also just where a lot of, like, it's where we learned to find ourselves. You know, we've played that room a bunch of times, and maybe it's the lack of intimacy of not playing in front of crowds for, you know, a year and a half, but like, it'd be really nice to play a really intimate, sweaty gig, you know?
I miss, we've been away for so many times. I miss like to be close with people, like to be, and I feel like Let's Go, that room, man, we always got like the real reaction of people right in your face, and you see you're literally playing with the crowd. You have the people just in front of you, so you have straight energy coming from the crowd, and it's really amazing. And I feel like, yes, it's cool to play bigger rooms, bigger stage, but after that crazy, like,
well, I wanted to say
actually
shit, like when Brian joined us, you know, the first thing that we played with us was at Plaza. And that felt like it was like maybe one of the bigger rooms that we had headlined on our own at that point. Fairmount was big too, you know, and it's fun to play these big rooms and even to play on festival stages in front of bigger crowds, you know. There's an undeniable thing that happens in front of like a bigger audience, that's for sure. But on the other side of that exact coin, like there's something that, you know, that's equally as magical about playing in front of 100 people in a small room. You know, it's, you know,
especially when you're on ground level. And
when you're just like a foot above
body heat.
When you're just like a foot above them, you know, it's not really about like being above anybody else. It's like really just, it's all, I think the stage is more of a formality of just being able, like of a sight line than to have a stage, you know? So it's like, that's my answer. I don't know about everybody else, but that's for me.
I've actually never played. I've never played Lesko. Looking forward to it, if ever.
Even more now.
Well, maybe there'll be some more announcements later this year.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some things you're not telling us, but that's fine at this point. So I really hope that is the case, that we get to see you guys live sooner rather than later. But congrats on the new music. I'm excited to hear more and to see what you're doing with the whole visuals versus music thing. It sounds like an interesting new chapter for you guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And thanks for taking some time to chat with me today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
No worries. We'll see you out there somewhere.
Yes, of course.
All right. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah,
have a good one.
You too. Thanks,
man. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.